If you're a pet owner, you've probably considered hiring a pet sitter at some point. Maybe you're traveling for work. Or maybe you're just going out for the night and can't take your furry friend with you. Whatever the reason, you're not alone. Millions of pet owners rely on pet sitters every year to take care of their beloved animals. But what happens when something goes terribly wrong? Unfortunately, we've all heard horror stories about pet sitters gone rogue. From neglect and abuse to strange occurrences and unexplained events. The dark side of pet sitting is a reality that many of us would rather ignore. But in this video, we're going to tackle the unthinkable. We're going to share 3 true pet sitting horror stories that will leave you sleeping with the lights on. But before we dive into these terrifying tales, let me give you a quick overview of what's to come. We'll be exploring 3 distinct cases that showcase the worst of the worst in pet sitting. Each story is a real-life account of what can happen when things go wrong. From a dog left to rot in a cage to a cat that suffered a gruesome injury at the hands of its sitter. These stories are not for the faint of heart. So, without further ado, let's get started with our first story. It's one that will shock you to your core and leave you wondering how someone could possibly do such a thing. Our first story takes us to a small town in the Midwest, where a family hired a local pet sitter to take care of their 2 dogs while they were away on vacation. Sounds simple enough, right? But what the family didn't realize was that their sitter had a dark secret, one that would change their lives forever. Meet Sarah, a seemingly innocent and trustworthy pet sitter who had been taking care of animals for years. She had a reputation in the community for being kind and reliable, which is why the family chose her in the first place. But what they didn't know was that Sarah had a history of animal abuse. In fact, she had been investigated multiple times by local authorities for her treatment of animals. But despite her checkered past, Sarah landed the job. And the family handed over their beloved dogs, Max and Bella. They were a loving couple with 2 young children, and they trusted Sarah to take care of their pets while they were away. At first, everything seemed normal. The family received regular updates from Sarah, and their dogs seemed happy and healthy. But as the days went by, the family began to notice strange occurrences. They received texts from Sarah that seemed off. She would mention that Max and Bella were doing well, but there was something in her tone that didn't sit right with them. Fast forward to the family's return from vacation, and they were met with a sight that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. As they walked into their home, they were greeted by the stench of rotting flesh, and that's when they saw it. Max, their poor dog, was lying in a cage, his once fluffy fur now matted and dirty. He was malnourished, thirsty, and in desperate need of medical attention. The family was horrified. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. How could someone they trusted so dearly treat their beloved pet like this? They immediately contacted the authorities, and an investigation was launched. But here's the shocking part. When the police questioned Sarah, she had a seemingly plausible explanation for what had happened. She claimed that Max had gotten loose and had been eating trash on the street, which is why he was in such bad shape. But as the investigation continued, it became clear that Sarah's story was nothing but a lie. In fact, the evidence showed that Sarah had been neglecting Max and Bella for weeks, leaving them to fend for themselves in a dirty and unsanitary environment. It was a shocking revelation that left the family reeling. How could someone be so cruel to innocent animals? As we delve deeper into the world of pet-sitting horror stories, we'll explore 2 more cases that will leave you stunned and disturbed. From a cat that suffered a gruesome injury to a dog that was left to rot in a backyard. These stories are a stark reminder of the dangers of pet sitting. But before we move on to the next story, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a bad experience with a pet sitter? Share your story with us in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're a pet owner, be sure to check back tomorrow for our next story. We'll be exploring a case that will make you think twice about hiring a pet sitter. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. But for now, let's leave you with a cliffhanger. What happened to Max and Bella after they were rescued from Sarah's care? Did they ever fully recover from their ordeal? We'll find out next time on this channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Sarah had always been a bit of an anxious pet owner. Her cat, Max, was more than just a pet to her. He was her constant companion, her confidant, and her little ball of fluff. So, when she decided to hire a pet sitter to take care of Max while she was away on a business trip, she made sure to do her research. She posted an ad on the local pet sitting platform. And after a few hours, she received a response from a woman named Emily. Emily seemed nice, and her profile was well-written and detailed, so Sarah decided to give her a shot. They agreed on a meet and greet to introduce Max to Emily. And Sarah was excited to finally have some peace of mind about her cat's well-being. The meet and greet took place at Sarah's apartment, and Emily seemed like a friendly and caring person. She asked all the right questions about Max's diet, his medical history, and his favorite toys. Sarah was impressed by Emily's attention to detail, and she felt confident that Max would be in good hands. But as the days went by, Sarah began to notice some unusual behavior from Emily. At first, it was just little things. Emily would show up late for their scheduled meetups, or she would forget to send Sarah updates about Max's activities. But as the days turned into weeks, Sarah started to get more and more concerned. One day, Emily showed up to feed Max, but she seemed off. She was fidgety and nervous, and she kept glancing at her phone. Sarah asked her if everything was okay, but Emily just brushed it off and said she was fine. Sarah tried not to think too much of it, but as the day went on, she started to feel a growing sense of unease. It wasn't until the next day that Sarah realized something was seriously wrong. She had asked Emily to send her a few photos of Max, but the photos never arrived. Instead, Emily sent her a cryptic message saying that Max was doing great and that she would see her soon. Sarah's heart sank as she read the message. Something was definitely off. She tried to call Emily, but she didn't answer. She tried to text her, but she didn't respond. Sarah was starting to get panicked. Where was Max? Why wasn't Emily returning her calls or texts? And what was going on with these strange messages? As the hours ticked by, Sarah's anxiety turned to full-blown panic. She was convinced that something had happened to Max, and she was frantic to find out what. She started to call around, trying to get in touch with Emily's friends or family members. But no one seemed to know anything about her. It wasn't until the police got involved that Sarah finally got some answers. Emily had been using Sarah's apartment as a front to run a large-scale pet snatching operation. She had been stealing cats from all over the city and selling them on the black market. And Max was just the tip of the iceberg. Sarah was horrified. She had trusted Emily with her beloved pet, and she had put Max in grave danger. As she sat in the police station, listening to the officers describe Emily's crimes, she felt a mix of emotions. Relief that Max was safe, but also anger and betrayal that she had been deceived by Emily's charming facade. The investigation into Emily's operation was extensive, but in the end, it was Max who was the lucky one. He was reunited with Sarah, and he lived out the rest of his days in a happy and loving home. But for Sarah, the experience was a wake-up call. She realized that even the most seemingly trustworthy people can have secrets and motives that are far from pure. As she looked back on the experience, Sarah couldn't help but wonder how many other pet owners had fallen victim to Emily's scam. She was grateful that she had been able to get Max back, but she knew that there were others out there who were still searching for their lost pets. And she was determined to make sure that Emily's story was a cautionary tale that would be remembered for years to come. But that's not the only pet-sitting horror story out there. There are many more tales of deceit, betrayal, and even worse. And in the next section, we'll be sharing another story that will leave you chilled to the bone. Stay tuned. The dark secret behind Emily's behavior as we continue our journey into the darkest side of pet-sitting. We're about to uncover a story that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about trust and loyalty. Meet Emily, a seemingly perfect pet sitter who's taken care of countless furry friends. But behind the scenes, a web of deceit is about to unravel. Growing up, Emily always had a passion for animals. Her parents, both veterinarians, encouraged her to pursue a career in the field. But Emily had other plans. She wanted to work with animals on a more personal level, to form genuine connections with them. and to make a real difference in their lives. So, she decided to become a pet sitter. At first, it seemed like the perfect job, flexible hours, a chance to spend time with animals, and the satisfaction of knowing she was helping their owners. But as Emily delved deeper into her career, something began to shift. She started to take on more and more clients, and her schedule became increasingly hectic. She was always on the go, never staying in one place for too long, and her relationships with the animals in her care began to suffer. It wasn't until she met Max, a sleek black cat with piercing green eyes, that Emily's behavior took a turn for the worse. Max belonged to a young professional named Sarah, who was known for her obsessive behavior when it came to her pets. She was always calling Emily, asking for updates on Max's every move, and questioning Emily's every decision. Emily, feeling overwhelmed and trapped, started to feel like she was losing herself in the process. She began to rebel against Sarah's constant demands, sneaking in late-night visits to Max, and even going so far as to accidentally forget to feed him on occasion. But what Emily didn't reveal to Sarah, or to anyone else for that matter, was the dark secret behind her behavior. A secret that would change everything we thought we knew about Emily and her motives. It turns out that Emily's parents, the very people who encouraged her to become a pet sitter in the first place, were involved in a shocking scandal. A scandal that would lead to a dramatic twist in Emily's story, one that would leave viewers wondering what's next for Emily and Max. As we delve deeper into Emily's backstory, we're about to uncover a web of deceit and betrayal that stretches far beyond the boundaries of a simple pet-sitting gig. It's a story that will take you on a wild ride, full of unexpected twists and turns, and will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about trust and loyalty. And just when you think you've got Emily's story figured out, a new revelation comes to light, sending shockwaves through the pet-sitting community. It turns out that Emily's motives for becoming a pet sitter weren't entirely altruistic. In fact, they were driven by a desire to get close to the one person she felt most connected to, her own mother. A mother who, it turns out, had been hiding a dark secret of her own. As the truth begins to unravel, Emily's behavior becomes increasingly erratic. She starts to make mistakes on the job, and her relationships with her clients begin to suffer. It's clear that something is wrong. But what? And what does it have to do with Emily's mother and the scandal that's been hiding in plain sight? The more we learn about Emily's past, the more questions we have. And just when we think we've got it all figured out, another bombshell drops. A bombshell that will change everything we thought we knew about Emily, her mother, and the dark secret behind her behavior. As we near the end of this section, we're left with a cliffhanger that will keep you on the edge of your seat. What's next for Emily and Max? Will Emily's behavior continue to spiral out of control? Or will she find a way to turn things around? And what's the connection between Emily's mother and the scandal that's been hiding in plain sight? The answers, much like Emily's behavior, are far from clear. But one thing's for sure, we're in for a wild ride as we continue to explore the darkest side of pet sitting. Now, let's get into the next part of our journey, where we meet another pet owner who's about to experience the darkest side of pet sitting. Welcome back to our series of truly terrifying true pet sitting horror stories. If you're just joining us, be sure to catch up on the previous episodes, where we explored the mysterious disappearance of Max and the dark secret behind Emily's behavior. As we continue to dive into the unknown, we're about to meet John, a loving father of two, and his family who thought they'd found the perfect pet sitter in Rachel. But what they soon discovered was that their new caregiver was not what she seemed. John's family had just moved into a beautiful new home on the outskirts of town. Their two kids, Emily and Timmy, were adjusting well to the new surroundings. But their beloved family dog, a playful golden retriever named Duke, was still getting used to the new environment. That's when they decided to hire a trusted pet sitter to take care of Duke while they were away. Rachel, a friendly and outgoing woman in her mid-30s, seemed like the perfect fit for the job. She promised to take great care of Duke, feed him, walk him, and even give him plenty of playtime. John and his family were relieved to have found someone they could trust. and they left for their vacation feeling confident that Duke was in good hands. The initial encounter between John and Rachel was pleasant. She showed up on time, was friendly and courteous, and seemed genuinely interested in taking care of Duke. John even offered her a tour of the house and showed her where everything was, including the food, water, and medication for the dog. But as the days went by, strange things started to happen. At first, it was just small things, a missing treat here, a forgotten walk there. But as the occurrences piled up, John began to feel a sense of unease. He started to wonder if Rachel was really taking care of Duke like she said she was. One day, John received a call from Rachel, saying that she'd found something unusual in the house. She claimed that it was just a weird old toy that she thought belonged to the previous owners of the house. But John's instincts told him otherwise. He asked her to send him a picture. But when he received it, he was shocked to see that it was a strange symbol etched into the wall. John couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. He started to investigate further, talking to the previous owners of the house and asking them about the symbol. But they seemed just as baffled as John was. As the days went by, the strange occurrences continued to pile up. John started to feel like he was losing his mind. He began to wonder if Rachel was somehow manipulating him, playing on his fears and making him doubt his own sanity. But the truth was far more sinister than John could have ever imagined. And it would take a shocking revelation to uncover the dark secret behind Rachel's behavior. As we continue to explore the true pet-sitting horror stories, we're getting closer to the truth. But be warned, what we're about to uncover will leave you speechless. Stay tuned for the next part of our series, where we'll reveal the shocking truth behind Rachel's behavior and the haunting of the Smith household. And if you're experiencing any frightening or unusual occurrences with your pets, please share your story with us in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying true stories. And hit the notification bell to stay up to date on our latest videos. Natural pauses and rhythm for voiceover delivery. Pause after welcome back to our series emphasize the words perfect pet sitter, and not what she seemed pause after. But what they soon discovered was that their new caregiver was not what she seemed. Emphasize the words terrifying true pet-sitting horror stories pause after John's family had just moved into a beautiful new home. Emphasize the words new surroundings and new environment pause after. But what they soon discovered was that their new caregiver was not what she seemed. Emphasize the words friendly and outgoing woman and genuinely interested in taking care of Duke pause after. But as the days went by, strange things started to happen. Emphasize the words small things and forgotten walk pause after. One day, John received a call from Rachel. Emphasize the words weird old toy and symbol etched into the wall pause after. John couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Emphasize the words sinister than John could have ever imagined pause after. But the truth was far more sinister than John could have ever imagined. Emphasize the words shocking revelation and dark secret behind Rachel's behavior. Note: the pauses and emphasis are indicated by asterisks in the script. The natural rhythm and pauses will be determined by the voiceover artist and the editing process. As we continue our journey into the darkest side of pet sitting, we're about to uncover a story that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about trust and loyalty. Meet Rachel, a seasoned pet sitter with a spotless reputation and a seemingly endless list of satisfied clients. But beneath the surface, a sinister game of cat and mouse was unfolding. It all started with a routine visit to the Johnson household. Rachel had been taking care of their two cats, Luna and Leo, for months, and everything seemed to be going smoothly. But then, strange things began to happen. Food would go missing, toys would be moved around, and an eerie feeling settled over the family. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but something felt off. As we dug deeper, it became clear that Rachel was playing a twisted game of cat and mouse with the Johnsons' pets. She was targeting specific animals, manipulating their behavior, and using it to her advantage. But why? What could possibly drive someone to engage in such sinister behavior? The Johnsons, desperate for answers, began to investigate Rachel's background. What they uncovered was shocking. Rachel had a history of animal cruelty. And her motives went far beyond a simple game of cat and mouse. She was, in fact, using the pets to manipulate their owners, gaining control and access to their homes. It was a chilling revelation, and one that left the Johnsons shaken to their core. As we continue to unravel the mystery of Rachel's sinister game, we're forced to confront a darker reality. Pet sitting, a profession once viewed as a harmless and benevolent act, has revealed its darker side. The trust and loyalty we place in our pet sitters can be twisted and exploited, leaving us vulnerable to the whims of those we think we can trust. But the story doesn't end there. As we delve deeper into Rachel's past, we discover a pattern of behavior that's both disturbing and thought-provoking. It seems that Rachel's actions were not isolated incidents, but rather part of a larger scheme. She had been targeting multiple families, using the same tactics to gain control and access. The implications are staggering, and the question on everyone's mind is, how did she get away with it for so long? As we explore the twists and turns of Rachel's sinister game, we're left with more questions than answers. What drove her to engage in such behavior? Was it a desire for power, control, or simply a twisted sense of entertainment? The truth, much like Rachel's true intentions, remains shrouded in mystery. But one thing is certain: the game of cat and mouse between Rachel and the Johnsons' pets has left us all on edge, wondering what will happen next. As we move forward in our investigation, we'll be exploring more twisted tales of pet-sitting horror. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on the sinister game of cat and mouse that Rachel has been playing. It's a chilling reminder that even the most seemingly harmless professions can hide a darker truth. And as we leave the Johnsons' household, we're left with a haunting question. What other sinister games are being played in the shadows of the pet-sitting world? The answer, much like the truth behind Rachel's sinister game, remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: we'll be keeping a watchful eye on the pet-sitting industry, searching for any signs of manipulation or exploitation. As we continue our journey into the darkest side of pet-sitting, we're forced to confront a harsh reality. The trust we place in our pet sitters is not always well-placed, and the consequences can be devastating. But by shedding light on these twisted tales, we hope to raise awareness and inspire change. In the next part of our series, we'll be exploring another terrifying true pet-sitting horror story. But for now, let's take a moment to process the sinister game of cat and mouse that Rachel has been playing. It's a reminder that, no matter how seemingly harmless a profession may be, there's always the potential for darkness lurking beneath the surface. And as we leave this twisted tale behind, we're left with a haunting question. What other sinister games are being played in the shadows of the pet-sitting world? The answer, much like the truth behind Rachel's sinister game, remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: we'll be keeping a watchful eye on the pet-sitting industry, searching for any signs of manipulation or exploitation. As we move forward in our investigation, we'll be uncovering more disturbing tales of pet-sitting horror. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on the sinister game of cat and mouse that Rachel has been playing. It's a chilling reminder that even the most seemingly harmless professions can hide a darker truth. And as we continue our journey into the darkest side of pet sitting, we're forced to confront a harsh reality. The trust we place in our pet sitters is not always well placed, and the consequences can be devastating. The sinister game of cat and mouse that Rachel played with the Johnsons' pets will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about trust and loyalty. It's a twisted tale of manipulation and exploitation, and one that raises important questions about the pet-sitting industry. As we continue our investigation, we'll be exploring more disturbing tales of pet-sitting horror. But for now, let's take a moment to process the sinister game of cat and mouse that Rachel has been playing. It's a reminder that, no matter how seemingly harmless a profession may be, there's always the potential for darkness lurking beneath the surface. As we continue to delve into the darkest corners of pet sitting, it's time to uncover the horrific truth about Rachel's past. You see, Rachel's spotless reputation and seemingly endless list of satisfied clients didn't just magically appear. There's a sinister reason behind her behavior as a pet sitter, and it's one that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about trust and loyalty. Rachel's past is a labyrinth of secrets and lies, shrouded in an aura of mystery and deception. It's a past that she's worked tirelessly to conceal, but one that ultimately led to her downfall. As a young woman, Rachel was desperate to make a name for herself in the competitive world of pet sitting. She worked tirelessly, taking on client after client. But her dedication came at a steep price. Rachel's obsession with being the best pet sitter in the business consumed her every waking moment. She sacrificed relationships, friendships, and even her own well-being for the sake of her profession. But what drove her to such extremes? The answer lies in her troubled childhood, where she was forced to grow up too quickly, taking on the responsibility of caring for her ailing mother. As Rachel's mother's health began to decline, Rachel became her primary caregiver. She was just a teenager at the time, but she took on the role with a fierce determination, doing everything in her power to keep her mother safe and comfortable. However, as the months went by, Rachel's mother's condition worsened, as she was eventually diagnosed with a terminal illness. The loss of her mother was a devastating blow for Rachel, but it also sparked a fire within her. She became fixated on the idea of being in control, of being the one person who could make a difference in the world. And so, she turned her focus to pet sitting, using her skills and dedication to become one of the most sought-after pet sitters in the business. But what Rachel didn't realize was that her obsession with being in control had also made her increasingly paranoid and manipulative. She began to use her position as a pet sitter to gather information about her clients, studying their habits and routines like a predator stalking its prey. She became a master of deception, using her charm and charisma to lull her clients into a false sense of security. And then, there was the family who discovered Rachel's sinister plan. They had hired her to take care of their 2 young children while they were away on vacation. But what they didn't know was that Rachel had a history of manipulating and controlling her clients, using her position as a pet sitter to exert her power and influence. As the family's children began to act strangely, exhibiting bizarre behavior and displaying a disturbing lack of interest in their usual activities, they started to suspect that something was amiss. They began to investigate Rachel's background, digging deeper into her past and uncovering the dark secrets she had worked so hard to conceal. But as they got closer to the truth, Rachel became increasingly desperate. She knew that if she was exposed, her reputation would be ruined, and her livelihood would be destroyed. And so, she did what any desperate person would do. She resorted to manipulation and deceit, using her cunning and charm to keep her clients in the dark. But the family was not going to let Rachel get away with her sinister plan. They were determined to expose her for the manipulator she was, and to protect their children from her clutches. As they closed in on the truth, Rachel became more and more desperate, her actions becoming increasingly erratic and unhinged. And then, just as the family thought they had finally uncovered the truth, Rachel pulled off a shocking and terrifying stunt. She vanished into thin air, leaving behind a trail of clues and a family left to wonder if they would ever be able to escape her clutches. The question on everyone's mind is, will the family ever be able to escape safely? Will they be able to uncover the truth about Rachel's sinister past and put an end to her manipulative games? The answer, much like Rachel herself, remains shrouded in mystery. But one thing is for sure, this story is far from over. And the truth is about to get a whole lot scarier. As we continue our journey into the darker side of pet sitting, we're about to uncover another chilling tale that will leave you questioning the true intentions of those who claim to care for your beloved pets. Meet Mark, a devoted dog owner who trusted his furry friend Duke to a pet sitter, only to have his life turned upside down by a sinister encounter. Mark, a young professional, had been away for a week-long business trip when he decided to hire a pet sitter to look after Duke, his lovable golden retriever. The pet sitter, a seemingly friendly and reliable individual, had been highly recommended by Mark's neighbors, who swore by her exceptional pet-sitting skills. Little did Mark know that this seemingly perfect arrangement was about to take a deadly turn. It started with a series of strange phone calls from the pet sitter, who claimed that Duke was exhibiting unusual behavior, such as barking incessantly and digging up the backyard. Mark, worried about his pet's well-being, asked the pet sitter to bring Duke to the local animal shelter for observation. That's when things took a dark turn. The pet sitter, who had been acting suspiciously, suddenly became evasive and hostile when Mark asked to see Duke at the shelter. Mark's concerns grew, and he decided to investigate further. What he discovered would leave him shaken to the core. As Mark arrived at the shelter, he was met by Larry, a dog catcher with a sinister reputation. Larry had been known to target specific breeds, including golden retrievers, which he claimed were too aggressive and needed to be caught. Mark's worst fears were confirmed when he saw Duke cowering in a cage, surrounded by other dogs. Larry, with a menacing grin, told Mark that Duke was indeed a dangerous breed and needed to be taken away for further evaluation. Mark was horrified and demanded to know why Larry had taken Duke in the first place. Larry's response would send chills down Mark's spine. "It's all about the money, buddy," Larry sneered. "I get a hefty sum for every dog I catch. And golden retrievers are the most valuable. You see, they're like gold nuggets. And I'm the one who gets to collect them." Mark was stunned. He couldn't believe that a dog catcher was profiting from catching dogs and that his beloved pet was just a pawn in Larry's twisted game. The more he delved into the situation, the more he realized that the pet sitter was in cahoots with Larry, and they had been working together to catch and sell dogs to the highest bidder. The encounter with Larry would change Mark's life forever. He would soon discover that he was not alone in his ordeal, and that there were many others who had fallen victim to the sinister pet-sitting game. As we continue to explore this dark side of pet-sitting, you'll be shocked by the true extent of the horrors that lie ahead. But for now, let's take a step back and try to understand the motivations behind Larry's behavior. What drives someone to target specific breeds and profit from catching them? Is it greed? Or is there something more sinister at play? We'll explore these questions and more in the next section of our pet-sitting horror stories. As you sit here watching this video, you might be wondering if this is just a far-fetched tale or if it's based on real events. The truth is, this is just one of many true stories that have been reported. And the consequences are very real. So stay tuned, and we'll dive deeper into the world of pet-sitting. And loyalty and trust are just words on a page. In the next section, we'll meet another pet owner, Sarah, who'll share her terrifying experience with a pet sitter who seemed like the perfect candidate. But as Sarah soon discovered, her pet sitter had a dark secret that would change her life forever. Don't miss it. The sinister game of dog and man. You see, pet-sitting horror stories don't just stop at the surface level. There's often a deeper, darker reason behind the sinister acts of those who claim to care for your beloved pets. Take the case of Larry, a seemingly ordinary pet sitter who was hired to take care of Duke, a loving golden retriever. But what started as a routine pet-sitting gig soon turned into a cat-and-mouse game that would leave both Larry and Duke on edge. As Larry began to take care of Duke, he started to notice some unusual behavior from the dog. Duke would growl and snap at Larry whenever he approached him, and Larry couldn't understand why. He thought maybe Duke was just being territorial. But as the days went by, Larry started to feel like he was being manipulated by the dog. It was as if Duke was playing a sinister game of cat and mouse with Larry, and Larry was completely unaware of the rules. But what Larry didn't know was that Duke was not just any ordinary dog. Duke's owner had left him with a dark secret, a secret that would change everything for Larry and Duke. You see, Duke had been trained by his owner to recognize certain triggers that would make him snap and growl at anyone who was trying to harm him. And Larry, with his sinister intentions, was the perfect trigger. As Larry continued to take care of Duke, he started to notice that the dog was becoming more and more agitated. He would bark and whine at Larry, and Larry couldn't understand why. But what Larry didn't know was that Duke was trying to tell him something. He was trying to warn Larry that he was in danger, that he was being manipulated by Larry's sinister intentions. The game of cat and mouse between Larry and Duke continued to escalate, with both of them playing a high-stakes game of survival. But what was the ultimate goal of this sinister game? Was Larry trying to harm Duke? Or was he just trying to uncover some dark secret? And what did Duke know that Larry didn't? As the days went by, Larry became more and more obsessed with uncovering the truth behind Duke's behavior. He started to research and investigate, trying to uncover the truth behind the dog's sinister behavior. But the more he learned, the more he realized that he was in over his head. He was playing a game of cat and mouse with a trained dog, and he didn't even know the rules. The game of cat and mouse between Larry and Duke reached a boiling point, with both of them on edge, wondering what would happen next. Would Larry uncover the truth behind Duke's behavior? Or would he become the latest victim of the sinister game of dog and man? The fate of both Larry and Duke hung in the balance, as the game of cat and mouse continued to escalate. But what was the ultimate truth behind Larry's sinister intentions? Was he trying to harm Duke? Or was he just trying to uncover some dark secret? And what did Duke know that Larry didn't? The answers to these questions remained a mystery, as the game of cat and mouse between Larry and Duke continued to unfold. And that's when Larry's sinister past began to unravel, revealing a dark secret that would change everything. Larry, it turned out, was not just a pet sitter, but a former animal abuser who had been kicked out of the pet sitting business for his cruel behavior. But Larry was determined to get back into the business, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make it happen. As the truth behind Larry's sinister intentions began to unravel, Duke became more and more agitated. He knew that Larry was a threat that had to be stopped. And so, Duke started to plot his escape, using all of his training and cunning to outsmart Larry and make his getaway. The game of cat and mouse between Larry and Duke reached a thrilling conclusion, with Duke emerging victorious and Larry left to pick up the pieces. But what was the ultimate cost of Larry's sinister behavior? Was he willing to risk his own life to get back into the pet-sitting business? Or was he just trying to cover up his dark secret? The answers to these questions remained a mystery, as the game of cat and mouse between Larry and Duke came to an end. But the question remains, what's next for Larry and Duke? Will Larry try to get back into the pet-sitting business? Or will he learn from his mistakes and try to make amends? And what about Duke? Will he be able to find a new home? Or will he remain trapped in the sinister game of dog and man? The answers to these questions, like the fate of Larry and Duke, remain a mystery. But one thing is for sure, the game of cat and mouse between Larry and Duke is far from over. Here is the section script, approximately 666 words, based on the provided guidelines and key points. As we continue our journey into the darker side of pet sitting, we're about to uncover another chilling tale that will leave you questioning the true intentions of those who claim to care for your beloved pets. The sinister game of dog and man, which we explored in the previous section, was just the tip of the iceberg. And today, we're going to dive deeper into the horrific truth about Larry's past. Larry, a seemingly ordinary pet sitter, had a dark secret that would change the lives of his clients forever. It all started when he was a dog catcher, tasked with rounding up stray animals in the city. But Larry's job wasn't just about catching dogs. It was about something much more sinister. He had a twisted fascination with the power dynamics between humans and animals, and he reveled in the fear and submission of the creatures he caught. Years went by, and Larry left his job as a dog catcher, and the memories and experiences he gained stayed with him. He started working as a pet sitter, using his charm and charisma to win over the trust of his clients. But little did they know, Larry's true intentions were far from pure. One family, the Smiths, had hired Larry to watch their two adorable puppies while they were away on vacation. They had met him through a referral, and he seemed like the perfect fit for the job. But from the moment Larry arrived at their house, something felt off. The family couldn't quite put their finger on it, but they couldn't shake the feeling that Larry was hiding something. As the days went by, the Smiths began to notice strange changes in Larry's behavior. He would spend hours outside, staring at the puppies with an unsettling intensity. He would whisper to them in the middle of the night, and the family would hear the sound of Larry's voice, and it was always muffled and distant. It was as if Larry was trying to communicate with the puppies, but the family had no idea what he was saying. The family's suspicions grew stronger when they stumbled upon an old, tattered book hidden in Larry's bag. The book was filled with disturbing images and stories about the history of dog catching. It seemed that Larry had a fascination with the darker side of animal control, and he was using the Smiths puppies as a way to relive his past. But that was only the beginning. The family soon discovered that Larry had a sinister plan to kidnap the puppies and sell them to a mysterious buyer. It was a shocking revelation that left the Smiths reeling. They had trusted Larry with their beloved pets, and now they were faced with the terrifying possibility that they might never see them again. As the family frantically tried to contact the authorities, Larry's behavior became increasingly erratic. He would appear in the middle of the night, muttering to himself, and the family could sense his desperation growing. They knew that they had to act fast, but they were running out of time. The question on everyone's mind is, will the Smiths be able to rescue their puppies before it's too late? Will Larry's sinister plan come to fruition? Or will the family find a way to stop him? The clock is ticking, and the fate of the Smiths' beloved pets hangs in the balance. Stay tuned for the next section to find out what happens next in this heart-pounding, true pet-sitting horror story. As Emily welcomed Olivia into her home, a mix of excitement and nervousness swirled in her stomach. She had finally found a reliable pet sitter for her beloved cat, Luna, and was eager to get back to her busy schedule. Olivia, with her friendly smile and warm demeanor, seemed like the perfect fit. But as their encounter progressed, Emily began to feel a sense of unease, like a nagging whisper in the back of her mind. At first, Olivia seemed attentive, asking all the right questions about Luna's diet, exercise routine, and favorite toys. But as they chatted, Emily noticed a few red flags that made her raise an eyebrow. Olivia seemed overly interested in the layout of the house, asking probing questions about the location of the kitchen, living room, and bedrooms. She also seemed to be taking an inordinate amount of time to review the care instructions for Luna, asking for clarification on every single detail. As Emily watched Olivia interact with Luna, she noticed something else that didn't quite add up. Olivia seemed to be handling the cat with an almost unnatural familiarity. Her touch was firm, almost possessive, and Luna seemed to be tolerating it rather than enjoying it. Emily's instincts were screaming at her to trust her gut, but she was trying to give Olivia the benefit of the doubt. As they finished up the care instructions and Olivia prepared to leave, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She asked Olivia if she had any questions or concerns, but Olivia just smiled and said everything was fine. But as Emily watched her leave, she noticed something that made her heart sink. Olivia had accidentally left her phone on the kitchen counter, and on the screen, Emily saw a text message from an unknown number. The message read, "Meet me at the old warehouse at midnight. Come alone." Emily's blood ran cold as she stared at the message, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. What was Olivia getting herself into? And why did it seem like she was trying to keep it a secret from Emily? As she watched Olivia's phone slip out of her hand and onto the counter, Emily knew she had to get to the bottom of this. She was no longer just hiring a pet sitter. She was investigating a potential crisis that threatened the very well-being of her beloved cat. And she was determined to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. As Emily stood there, frozen in uncertainty, she couldn't help but wonder what other secrets Olivia might be hiding. And she knew she wasn't the only one who was curious. There were those who would stop at nothing to uncover the truth. And Emily was about to find herself in the crosshairs of a sinister game that would leave her questioning everything she thought she knew about pet sitting. As Emily welcomed Olivia into her home, a mix of excitement and nervousness swirled in her stomach. She had finally found a reliable pet sitter for her beloved cat, Luna, and was eager to get back to her busy schedule. Olivia, with her friendly smile and warm demeanor, seemed like the perfect fit. But little did Emily know, Olivia's past held a dark secret that would change everything. Growing up, Olivia had always been fascinated by animals. She spent most of her childhood volunteering at local shelters and caring for stray cats in her neighborhood. But as she grew older, Olivia's passion for animals only intensified, and she began to seek out more extreme ways to care for them. She started taking in animals from the streets, nursing them back to health, and then releasing them back into the wild. But as her reputation grew, so did her ego. Olivia began to see herself as a guardian of sorts, a protector of the innocent. This twisted sense of purpose drove Olivia to start her pet-sitting business, where she would claim to care for pets, where in reality she was manipulating their owners into doing her bidding. She would take advantage of their trust, overfeeding their pets, and then charging them outrageous fees for advanced care. But Olivia's latest client, Emily, was different. Emily had a cat, Luna, who was suffering from a rare disease, and Olivia saw this as the perfect opportunity to exploit her. But here's where things get really scary, folks. As I dug deeper into Olivia's past, I uncovered a disturbing pattern of behavior that went far beyond just financial exploitation. Olivia had a history of sneaking into homes when no one was around, tampering with pet food, and even poisoning animals that she deemed undesirable. It was a twisted game of cat and mouse, and Olivia was the mastermind, and the pets were her pawns. As Emily settled into her routine, she began to notice strange occurrences around the house. Food would go missing, and Luna's medication would be tampered with. At first, Emily thought it was just a coincidence, but as the events continued, she realized that something was seriously wrong. And then, the unthinkable happened. Emily discovered a hidden camera in her living room, and on the footage, she saw Olivia's face, her eyes gleaming with a sinister intent. But just as Emily thought she had finally caught Olivia in the act, the footage cut off, and the screen went black. The camera, it seemed, had been hacked, and the footage deleted. But the question on everyone's mind is, what's next for Olivia and Emily? Will Emily be able to catch Olivia in the act? Or will she become her next victim? The answer, folks, remains a chilling mystery, leaving us with a cliffhanger that will keep you on the edge of your seat. As Emily stood face to face with Olivia, the atmosphere in the room became increasingly tense. The friendly pet sitter's smile now seemed more like a calculated facade, and Emily's initial warmth began to dissipate. It started with small things, a misplaced toy, a knocked-over vase, and a faint smell of smoke wafting from the kitchen. At first, Emily attributed it to her own forgetfulness. But as the occurrences piled up, she began to suspect Olivia's sinister motives. One evening, as Emily was out running errands, she received a frantic call from her neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins. She reported hearing strange noises coming from Emily's house. And when she checked on Luna, the normally docile cat was growling and hissing like a feral animal. Emily's heart sank as she rushed back home, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. When she arrived, she found Olivia lounging on the couch, a glass of wine in hand, with Luna's food bowl knocked over and a trail of destruction leading from the kitchen to the living room. "What have you done, Olivia?" Emily demanded, her voice trembling with anger and fear. Olivia's expression changed from nonchalant to calculating. And for a moment, Emily thought she saw a glimmer of something sinister lurking beneath her surface. "You're just being paranoid, Emily," Olivia said, her voice dripping with condescension. "I'm here to take care of Luna, not wreak havoc on your household." But Emily knew better. She remembered the countless stories of pets being injured or even killed under the care of unscrupulous pet sitters. She recalled the countless reviews she'd read online, filled with tales of deceit, neglect, and outright cruelty. As Emily's suspicions grew, she began to dig deeper into Olivia's past. She discovered that Olivia had been involved in a series of similar incidents, with multiple pet owners accusing her of abuse and neglect. The more Emily learned, the more she realized that Olivia's sinister behavior was more than just a coincidence. It was a pattern, a deliberate attempt to manipulate and exploit vulnerable pet owners. And then, just as Emily thought she was getting to the bottom of Olivia's secrets, she received a chilling phone call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was Olivia's, her tone dripping with malice as she whispered, "You'll never be able to prove anything, Emily. I'll always be one step ahead." The line went dead, and Emily was left with a haunting sense of unease, wondering if she'd just become Olivia's next target. As Emily stood frozen in shock, the pieces of the puzzle finally began to fall into place. The three seemingly unrelated pet-sitting horror stories now shared a stunning twist that connected them all. Olivia, the friendly pet sitter with a dark secret, was just one thread in a larger web of deceit. It turned out that Olivia was working for a shadowy network of pet sitters who preyed on desperate pet owners. These individuals would pose as trustworthy caregivers, only to manipulate and exploit their clients for their own gain. And at the center of it all was a charismatic figure, known only as the matchmaker. This enigmatic figure would scour social media and pet-sitting platforms, identifying vulnerable pet owners who were desperate for care. They would then recruit unsuspecting individuals, like Olivia, to carry out their sinister plans. The matchmaker's true identity remained a mystery, but one thing was clear. They had a talent for manipulating people and creating chaos in the lives of innocent pets and their owners. As the investigation continued, more shocking similarities between the pet sitters began to surface. Each of them had a charming facade, a convincing backstory, and a knack for gaining the trust of their clients. But beneath the surface, they were all working together to carry out a coordinated scheme. It was a breathtaking twist that left investigators stunned and pet owners outraged. How could so many seemingly trustworthy individuals be involved in such a complex web of deceit? The answer, it seemed, lay in the power of manipulation and the vulnerability of those who trusted their pets to strangers. As the dust settled, Emily couldn't help but wonder how many other pet sitters were part of this shadowy network. Had she unknowingly hired one of them for Luna? The thought sent a chill down her spine, and she knew that she had to be more vigilant in the future. But for now, she was left with a haunting question. What other secrets lay hidden behind the smiling faces of those who claimed to care for our beloved pets? The final confrontation as the days went by, Emily's suspicions about Olivia's intentions grew stronger. She began to notice strange noises coming from the backyard at night, and the once friendly pet sitter seemed to be avoiding her. It was time for Emily to take action and confront Olivia once and for all. She gathered her evidence and called a meeting with the other pet owners who had been affected by Olivia's sinister behavior. The atmosphere was tense as they all gathered in Emily's living room. Olivia, seemingly calm and collected, walked in with a smile on her face. But as the conversation began, it quickly became clear that she was anything but innocent. The pet owners presented their evidence, from the missing jewelry to the threatening messages. And Olivia's smile began to falter. As the accusations mounted, Olivia's demeanor changed. She grew defensive, denying any wrongdoing and blaming the pet owners for being paranoid. But it was too late. The web of deceit she had spun had finally been exposed, and the pet owners were not going to let her get away with it. The confrontation ended with Olivia being escorted out of the house by the police. The pet owners were left shaken but relieved that justice had been served. But as they breathed a sigh of relief, a chilling thought occurred to them. What other pet sitters were out there like Olivia, preying on unsuspecting pet owners? The thought sent a shiver down their spines, and they knew that they would never look at pet sitting the same way again. As they began to pick up the pieces and rebuild their trust, they couldn't help but wonder. Had they been too trusting, too naive? Had they fallen prey to Olivia's charming facade? Or had they seen the truth all along? The questions swirled in their minds like a vortex, leaving them with more questions than answers. The final confrontation had finally taken place. But the real question remained, had justice been truly served? But was this just the beginning of a much larger, darker truth? The pet owners looked at each other, their eyes filled with a mix of emotions. Relief, anger, and a deep-seated fear. They knew that they would never be the same again, and that their lives would never be free from the shadow of Olivia's sinister actions. As the police car drove away with Olivia in the backseat, the pet owners were left to pick up the pieces and try to move on. But the question lingered in their minds, a constant reminder of the horrors they had endured. Had they truly seen the last of Olivia's evil plans? Or was she just the tip of the iceberg? The thought haunted them, leaving them with a sense of unease and a deep-seated fear for the future. Here's the script content for the section, The Dark Reality of Pet Sitting. As Emily finally pieces together the shocking truth behind the 3 pet-sitting horror stories, she's left wondering, what else is hiding in plain sight? These chilling tales, though seemingly unrelated, share a haunting thread that connects them all. Olivia's dark secret, the family's sinister intentions, and the eerie feeling that something's off. All of these elements now make sense in the grand scheme of things. But what if I told you that these stories are just the tip of the iceberg? That there are countless other pet-sitting horror stories waiting to be uncovered? The truth is, the pet-sitting industry is often plagued by unscrupulous individuals who use their position of trust to exploit and manipulate others. It's a dark reality that many people choose to ignore, but it's one that we need to confront head-on. Think about it. When you hire a pet sitter, you're not just giving them access to your home and your pet's care. You're also giving them a window into your personal life, your relationships, and your deepest fears. It's a level of trust that's hard to shake, especially when you're away from home for extended periods. But what if that trust is misplaced? What if the person you're trusting with your pet's care has ulterior motives? These questions send shivers down Emily's spine as she reflects on her own experiences with Olivia. She remembers the way Olivia would often accidentally leave the door unlocked, or the way she'd seem overly interested in Emily's personal belongings. Now, with the truth finally revealed, Emily realizes that she was living in a nightmare, oblivious to the sinister forces at play. As we conclude this series of pet-sitting horror stories, I want to leave you with a question. Have you or someone you know ever had a terrifying experience with a pet sitter? We want to hear from you. Share your own pet-sitting horror stories in the comments below. And let's work together to raise awareness about the dark reality of pet sitting. Remember, your safety and the safety of your pets should always come first. Don't take anything for granted. And never be afraid to ask questions.